Hello there, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Frame 316 Media, now powered by Next Story Studios. I'm Robert. I am here to create videos that aims to help you, whether you're a small business owner, an established business owner, or a personal brand. My role is to help you tell better stories. So, in today's video, I'm going to talk about one of the important aspects, before you jump into video creation, before you jump into creating your social media posts, before jumping into, writing all those blogs. What do you really need to do? First, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to explain just how you can do this without even stretching your budget or adding more employees to your company, because this is something that has to come from you as the business owner. So stay tuned in today's video. So we have been doing this for more than 20 years now, and I get a lot of questions every time I get invited to speak. Every time I talk with clients, I get, the same line of questions like, what do we really need to do to establish our own narrative as a company, to establish our own story as a brand? So it may sound what do you call this, unorthodox, because some companies would have the budget to really spend a lot of money hiring consultants, hiring people in charge of analytics, studying their demographics, um, starting, the scoping the target location. Don't get me wrong, these are all important things that you also need to do. But what I'm going to be talking about today is how do you create the right foundation? Because I believe, in my experience, in my line of work, storytelling is the foundation of great marketing. That's why our mission, we exist to help companies, to help brands, to help our clients tell better stories. And this is not an overnight thing. This is not like they pay us and then in a couple of months everything grows for them. We are working more for long term, that to help them have that more sustainable workflow in terms of creating content, distributing those content. But again, where do you start? So what do you really need to do to have that, right foundation when it comes to creating great marketing? I am an advocate of storytelling. You have seen it in all my videos. I have been in and out of YouTube, depends on where I am on this planet. But, there was a season where 2 years we went straight doing videos every 2 weeks. And then we have like a huge gap because we have to transition from Singapore, going to California. Right now we're in California. But storytelling for me is really something that's essential. Some people would tend to make it too technical, like, how do I tell a story? What are the structure of my stories? There is definitely, there has to be a structure on how you tell your brand story. But what I'm talking about right now is that you should position yourself like, when you sit down with friends, what makes you excited to hear their stories? What also excites you to share your stories? So same with business. When you start crafting your stories for your business, I think the most important thing is figuring out how to ask the right questions, and why the right questions matter. Because in my line of work, that is essentially the first thing that we start doing once a contract gets signed. Sit down with the client, extract as much information as we can from them, and it has been second nature to us to in trying to figure out what sort of questions we need to ask. So I want to help you, because there is not like a rule of thumb, like what are this, like this question one, question two, question three, question. It's not like that. It takes a bit of sensitivity, creative sensitivity. As a creative person, you have to be able to gauge your clients, like, like those initial interactions. you should be able to figure out where they want to go, where they are, what are they capable of, and what have they been doing in terms of their marketing, and of course, what resources do they have. So a simple way to start is for myself, when we have this conversation with our clients, it's not that standard. Can you tell me more of what your company is doing? For me, what I would do is what I would probably ask for one client, but not for all of them. I would probably ask, what is the typical day of your customer? And where does your brand fit in, yeah, in that typical day of your customer? Why is this question good in a way? It's because it brings out the understanding of the brand, of the company owner. It brings out this understanding about the service, or the product that they provide to their customers. Because if any company does not really know where they fit in the lifestyle of their customer, it's going to be really difficult to insert yourself, because your customer would have to make a decision. It's a decision making that they will say, hey, I want to buy from you, or I want to acquire your services. But it happens in their own timeline. It's not something that you rush. That's why for me, I'm not a fan of chasing, hard selling, because I don't know if you agree with me, even yourselves, when you buy stuff, it happens on your timeline. It doesn't get dictated to you. I'm not sure. It might happen once in a while. But we as human beings, we only buy when we're ready to buy, and that's our own timeline. So that is an important aspect of understanding how to craft your brand story. Where does your product or your service fit in a day, in the timeline of your customer? So that's one thing that I can think of right now. And another thing is, probably you would think about the mission, vision, values question. um it's a bit tricky on this part, because for me, mission, vision, and values, they are mostly written, so it gets hung on the wall of your office, so that when people walk into your office, they have a mission, they have a vision, they have a set of values. But it depends on your client, or it depends on you. Did you come up with those mission and vision and core values just on paper, or did you really put a lot of effort in figuring out that this will be the lifestyle of my company? If part of our mission is excellence, excellence should be a lifestyle, not only for myself but also for my staff. So when it comes to questions that is related about a mission, a vision, and core values, I would usually ask the clients why they exist. What is their object of transformation, or what is their statement of transformation? Because remember, as entrepreneurs, we exist to solve problems. So solving problems is also transformation. So as a business owner, you should know what that transformation looks like. Like for ourselves, for a company, the transformation that we seek is that business owners need not struggle in figuring out their content on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, like always, scratching their head every team meeting, every week, every month. And what are we going to post? What are we going to talk about? So we help them from the foundation. We help them craft their story. The mission part, the mission vision part, it would come naturally if you understand why your company exists. If you ask me, if you ask anyone from our team, we exist because we want to make better storytellers. We want to help create better storytellers, because we believe that the world deserves to hear good stories. Whether you're selling them something, whether you're trying to provide them anything at all, as your service, it has to come in a way that transforms their way of thinking, that transforms their decision making for the good, no, not for the worse. Or and another thing, another set of questions that it's important to ask in crafting your brand stories is you have to figure out a way to that people or you would reflect on your journey. Different companies started in different ways. We all have different struggles. We all have uh, different techniques. We all have different approaches, but that journey is something that definitely your target audience should be able to relate to. Why? Because you started the company, an experience brought you to that decision that, hey, one day I'm going to solve people's problems. And, in that part of your journey that you're trying to solve uh, people's problems, you begin to have like ups and downs. You begin to have discoveries. And this is something that you can share, sort of questions that you can ask yourself, if you're doing it on your own, or you can ask your partners or whoever is involved in designing your brand story is like, let's talk about, can you talk about the highs and the lows of your journey and how you put this together in helping you to be still, aligned in your goal as a company. Example, markets will drop. Industry would have a different direction. Tools. With the advent of AI, let's say you're for us, we are content creators. In the advent of AI, it's a bit scary for most content creators because you can practically create content now like that fast with AI. But if it depends on how deep you know your journey, and how convinced are you that this is the path that you are really willing to take in terms of trying to help people, in terms of achieving your goal as a problem solver slash entrepreneur. That journey becomes interesting. That journey becomes something that is worth sharing, that is worth listening to. So that should be part of the questions that you need to ask yourself, or you need to ask your clients, or you need to ask any of the stakeholders in your company. And lastly, you need to ask questions that captures the vision of the brand. If, let's say, if the vision of the brand, for example, is you want to create a safe environment for, let's say, for in the education sector, you want to create a safe environment where teachers, educators and students could have objective conversations that would create, that let's say an ecosystem, an education ecosystem that not only helps the students but also empowers the teachers to talk about the right things, to talk about truth, to stand up for truth. That you may say that sounds ideal, but someone might be able to figure that out sometime. But um, just talking out of my head, if that is your vision, you need to have questions that extracts that vision. For example, in that very specific business model, you can probably ask, why does it matter that the truth still prevails in our education system? Because that's your vision. You can also ask how important it is to always be aligned to values that transforms these students. And there's a lot of things you can talk about, but what's most important is those questions should capture the vision of your brand and bring it forward. And there's a lot of things that I can think of, but the objective of this video episode is to inspire you, give you that sense of direction, to have that desire to, hey, I can make this work. I can put my brand out there in a way that can make an impact to a lot of people. So if you have, I mean, any specific questions that you have on your about what you do as a company, and if you want, you need help in crafting those questions and helping you shape the direction of your brand story, that's something that we can help you with. You can reach out to me, to us, our company. I'll be showing on the screen right now where you can practically send us an email. We can start that conversation. It really doesn't matter how big you are as a brand, because a lot of companies, big and small, are going through this journey. So I hope you learned something from this video, and as I promised, I'm gonna try and create more of this and really have a structure that would help you, as an entrepreneur, to tell better stories. So if you found this video helpful and interesting, please don't forget to share. Don't forget to like this and subscribe to my channel, because it helps this channel, really be out there, go out there and be suggested and promoted to a lot of other entrepreneurs like yourself. So thank you for watching. Again, this is Robert from Next Story Studios.